everyone. Thanks for listening to the podcast. The Snow West Show is powered by Trails West RPM Trailers. You'll be hearing a lot more about the new Altitude Series RPM trailers from Trails West, but I just wanted to thank them for joining the show. We've used Trails West RPM trailers exclusively for years and love how smooth they pull. They're loaded with cool features that make the trip easy. You can really tell that they're designed and built by snowmobilers who use them all the time. Dan Adams and Matt Entz count on Trails West RPM trailers to get to the snow every day, and so do we at Snow West. Use the Build Your Trailer button at trailswesttrailers.com to check out all the features and options. Thanks and enjoy the show. Hey everybody, welcome to the Snow West Show. I'm your host, Ryan Harris, and my cheeks already hurt.
What?
I'm laughing at you dumbasses. Like, we've only been in here for 5 minutes.
What a start.
Oh, man. We got the full test staff in here. We're kicking off the season strong. We're back to sled reviews. We've got a whole lineup of sleds to get reviewed, and we're starting off with the 2026 Ski-Doo Summit X. So hit that subscribe button on YouTube, because we're going to be coming back in here, hopefully all 6 of us or all 5 of us, and hit every sled that we rode last year. But let me introduce everybody. We got Rhett Clark in here. I haven't seen you for about 2 years.
Been a while.
Wasn't even sure if you still lived here.
Pretty busy. Have things to do.
Yeah, like send us dirt biking pics.
Yeah.
Every other night. I'm out here riding solo again in the desert.
Everybody thinks I'm at work, but I got to get my rides in too.
I used to tell you should stick a dirt bike in the back of your delivery van, because you're halfway there.
Yeah. I've had one in there before.
Not the first time. Well, good to have you back with us for the shows again. Bruce Curbs over here to my left. You've been. How's the farming season going? You're about
done. Yeah,
about done for the year.
Right this week.
And then we could just sit there and watch the government checks roll in.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. Trump said he's sending some out, didn't he?
Well, and once the FDA goes, turn the lights back on the FDA, they just start writing checks, right?
Yeah.
That's right.
It'll be good,
guys.
Let it snow.
Yeah, good. Let it snow. Can you make that check out to Rexford Motorsports, please?
Yeah.
Brock Jenna down there, fresh off a siding job. That sounds like you're pretty dang busy.
Yeah, we got a lot going on.
You need to get a couple more crews going.
I'm good. Yeah, I don't think you're at my house.
I'm good.
Gosh, I think he said he was supposed to be.
Why'd you have to bring that up? I had to pull off Justin's for a little while to go finish up another one, and I was hoping he'd forget about it for just a little bit.
He ain't gonna forget about that. Justin Stevens down there at the end of the table. Everybody's very familiar with Justin Stevens. He hasn't missed a show. In 3 years, 3.5, 4 years of doing this, Justin's been to every single show.
I don't know what that says about me. But no live.
Good job, you bum.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we're gonna like I said, we're gonna start doing sled reviews. We did a few years ago, and then last year we were really good about doing like our 850 shootout. So we're gonna do that again. We're going to get, in fact, the way we've got our test sleds lined up, we've got a stack of NAs that all match up with each other, and then we've got all the turbo sleds that are stacked up to match up. So equal track length, equal gauge configuration, lug height, and all that. So there's going to be a lot of comparisons. Stuff's going to come in pretty soon. We're going to get it on the scales. We've really kind of lit a firestorm in the industry about sled weights lately. Like, have you seen Polaris's posts? The last week or so, Nails and Brandt down in Brandt's shop, talking about how the 9R is the lightest mountain sled out there.
Yeah.
Ski-Doo, they're on a mission to get their sleds. They've told me personally, get their sleds the lightest in the market, lightest out of any, and within a few years. And Fred Desjardins sends me a message on Messenger the other day, and I think I sent it to you guys.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a screenshot from this post of a customer that got his X154, Summit X154, put it on a scale, full of gas with a spare belt, same way we went, 509. 509 pounds, wet, ready to ride, which is, man, that's right there. That's right there with what our numbers reflect. So it'd be interesting to get our sleds in here and weigh them ourselves on our scale and see how that all comes together. So we got those coming up. We've got sled reviews on every other mountain sled that we tested last year from the 26 lineup. Those are coming up soon. We've got a show. Our next show that we're going to record is with Dustin Pancurry from Climb. He's coming down here in a couple days, and that's going to kick off this test that he's invited us all to do, where it's going to be a 2-part goggle test, where we're going to test all the different frames, goggle frames that Climb offers, just so we can get on afterward and talk about how a different frame fits a different size face and all that. Because everybody kind of buys a goggle based on how it looks, and then maybe it's not the best one to fit their face or their nose or whatever. So he wants to talk about that, and then we're going to take the E-Fire Edge heated goggle, and he's going to give us all the different color lenses for that, and we're all going to go out and ride and swap lenses throughout the day and just see.
Oh, cool.
Like you'll have your own pack. You're not going to like swap rock
Sweaty
Yeah,
goggles.
I was gonna say, can I have my own goggles, please?
Yeah. No, we have one pair. You just go ride. The rest of you just kind of cover your eyes while you're riding. Get through the trees. No, then we can talk about lenses and tints and yellow versus blue versus persimmon and gradient and all that stuff. So that'll be really interesting. So if you're watching this on YouTube, again, hit that subscribe button. We got a lot of great content coming out. So to kick off this show, Bruce, you went up and stayed at 320 Ranch, and 320 Guest Ranch was a sponsor of the show for the first 3 years. You went up and stayed with them last season.
Yeah.
Give us a little recap on that.
Okay. Yeah, me and my boy went up there, was it February, early February, late January, something like that. And my boy goes to school in Bozeman, so we just kind of met. It's right in the middle between Yellowstone and Bozeman. I think you're an hour from Bozeman, 45 minutes from West Yellowstone, and you're 15 minutes from Big Sky. So it's kind of a cool location, right in the middle of a lot of riding areas and stuff. But yeah, we went there. They got a great lodge, main lodge that you check in at, and big fireplace, and you can hang out there and do whatever, if you're there just solo or with a group. Pretty cool place to hang out. And then we stayed in, I thought we were going to be in just this single bedroom, kind of a smaller cabin, but we stayed in one of their bigger, I guess, cabins or lodges, 2-bedroom upstairs, 3-bedroom downstairs, 2 or 3 bathrooms, really nice place. And yeah, it's kind of just an old school ranch. I was reading up on it. It's a 126-year-old ranch up there in Montana. It's just 10, 15 minutes from 2 of probably the better riding places, Taylor Fork and Buck Ridge.
Did you ask ChatGPT?
No. Should I? I don't even know how to use that. But anyway, yeah, Taylor Fork and Buck Ridge are 2 of the riding areas that you could go from there. And I mean, it's just endless riding up in them parts. But the ranch was awesome. Free breakfast in the morning.
That's awesome.
Just a cool place that I think, they're open year round. I don't know if all cabins are open in the winter. If they shut some of them down, I'm not sure. But they've got different, I just looking here, different size cabins. They've got mountain chalets, riverfront log cabins, which I think those are closed in the winter, but I could be wrong. Deluxe log cabins. They've got historic McGill cabin, and then a 3-bedroom luxury log home. So I think they've got plenty of space for everybody.
Does this remind you of doing a book report in school?
A little bit. I don't know if I ever did one of those.
I was going to say, he didn't do one of those.
With the pre-bond?
But no, it was great. I want to go back this winter. In fact, I think it'd be fun for all of us to go up there. It's a pretty cool place.
So is it on the west side of the highway going up, like towards
Yes.
Bozeman, or
East side.
East side.
Yep.
Okay. So if you wanted to do like Carrot Basin, how far away from there are you? Can you ride from 320
I think so. Yeah.
to get to there?
Yeah.
It's on the north side of Big Sky, I think.
Yeah, because I don't think you're not in the park. So yeah, I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
But
That's great riding.
it is.
Somebody's
it's
out there
amazing
screaming at their
riding.
radio saying, "Shut up."
I know, exactly. Just
Man, that was
called
good
out some honey holes, but no, there's plenty of room to park trailers, a few trailers, not a lot, but it's a neat place.
Yeah.
Great people. People are friendly.
Awesome. Is there food there? Like
Yeah.
Place
Yeah.
to eat dinner there?
Yep.
And that's part of the lodge, or is there a separate restaurant?
It's a separate restaurant, I believe. Yeah. In fact, I think there's a couple different places there.
Yeah, cool.
And then in the summer, I think they do a big chuck wagon and stuff. So
Oh, that's cool.
anyway,
Well, you're getting close enough to Big Sky that, there's a few restaurants there, so.
yeah.
Was Cabin 8 open all winter long, or?
I don't know.
Okay.
I didn't ask about that.
I was just curious.
Always got to be that one guy in the
Hey,
crowd.
did your Amazon shipment show up for him?
No, not yet. Tomorrow.
Sweet.
He's excited. He's very excited.
He'll probably be on my front porch in the morning at 8 a.m. just waiting.
Yeah, just let me know when it arrives. I'll come get it and carry it in for
Okay.
you.
All right.
Oh man! All right, let's dive right in here. Let's talk about the 2026 Skidoo Summit X. So just as an overview, I'll kind of run down my notes here from when they came out in Island Park in January or early February, and they brought the 26 prototypes out there, and then they bring Meaty up there. And you came up and rode with us on not the mountain day, right?
Yeah, it was on the trail day or the utility.
Yeah.
I don't know which one it
the
was.
expedition
It's
day?
actually pretty fun.
That was almost more fun because it's like, holy cow.
Well,
it's like
Weren't you guys on 2
the
up?
throttle? No, solo on 2 up. We should have had to go 2 up on 2 up.
yeah,
That
and we
day.
did have some fast sleds too, so it was fun.
Yeah. So the day before you were up there with us, right? So they released the Summit X, and that was kind of the main sled that they focused on for this release, and they pulled the cover off of it, and we were sitting in the back in the garage, like where they have all the media coming, they're showing this, and did we already spot that coilover with the cover on it?
I think so.
Yeah, we were like
Yeah.
looking around like, oh yeah, I see something
Something's
cool
different.
under there.
Yeah.
So they pull the wrap off, and this sled's got a coilover rear suspension, which is something I think I don't want to say it's needed but it's awesome to have it because it's a little bit lighter. You get rid of 2 torsion springs, and you run one single coil over the shock instead of the 2 torsion springs. So it's a little bit lighter in that regard. But and we'll get into the ride quality of doing that in a little bit, but it just kind of helps improve the ride quality from a mountain rider standpoint, like an aggressive ride. But then they talked more about stuff that we couldn't even see because looking at it, you couldn't really tell a difference. We obviously picked up on the coilover rear suspension, and then the new upper A arm, which is a forged aluminum upper A arm, which helped them lose a little bit of weight. And then they changed the bulkhead. It's like a thinner cast material. It's the same material, but it's like a different casting style, so it's thinner, so it's a little lighter weight.
It's supposed to be strong.
But it's supposed to be
Supposed
stronger.
to be stronger.
Yeah.
And then they shortened the tunnel and went to a thinner aluminum sheeting on the tunnel. And by shortening the tunnel, they shortened the cooler as well. So they eliminated 2 pounds of coolant and 12 pounds of dry weight. So a 2026 Summit X 154 NA non-turbo is 14 pounds lighter than a 2025. And that's a huge jump. Like we've talked about weight before. Like I wasn't expecting 14 pounds in a year. I was
Yeah, that's
expecting 14
significant.
pounds over the next 4 years.
Yeah.
But I think that's pretty cool. What was the first thing when you guys jumped on it? And Rhett, we'll start with you. What's the first thing that popped into your head? Because you weren't there on that sneak peek ride, so you got on it after Bruce and I had ridden it.
Mm.
What was your first thought on that Summit X?
It's super playful, like very reactive to anything you did. Like super easy to ride, super easy to override, but like very playful chassis. Like I thought it was the most fun sled that we rode. That snowshoe. Like honestly, it was so fun to play on. Just it didn't take a lot of effort to do anything, and the new suspension on it worked awesome. But it was just like, for a lack of better adjective, just playful. It was just super fun to ride on.
That's a good way to put it. I was thinking kind of the same thing because it was like it's always been the 9R's been kind of my go-to on lightweight, playful, responsive sled.
Yeah.
And this 26 Summit X like jumped right to that level. Like it's like neck and neck with the 9R in my opinion, as far as playfulness and even if you look at the limited 9R, the LE, the blue edition with the paint. So now you got painted panels, you've got front and rear bumpers, and you've got the handlebar bag. So that sled got 5 pounds heavier. So if you got a 9R limited 26, you got a little heavier. If you got the Summit X, you got lighter. I think those 2 sleds, if we weigh them, are going to be about the same weight. Maybe even the Summit a little bit lighter if you happen to go with the LE Polaris. But
Right.
so jumping from the LE 9R to that Summit X, man, that thing felt good.
Yeah, it did. It felt awesome. And I even stopped. I know we had a sled there. It was a model year 25. And I stopped one of the engineers and I said, trade me for a minute. And he looked at me like, this is last year's sled. I'm like, I know. I want to ride them both like back to back so you can compare them and feel the difference. And is definitely Like, I mean, it's noticeable. Like, there's a weight difference, but there's also just the fun factor. Like, you get on that thing, and it's just less effort to do everything. But then, like, you could feel it through the suspension. Like, intentionally hit something just to see what the suspension does, and it just felt better.
Like in what way? Like what do you feel when you hit something intentionally, like trying to feel the suspension?
I noticed the rear suspension absorb bumps better, but it didn't kick you. Like, it would absorb the impact.
Didn't have the rebound.
Yeah, it's not like it would buck you off.
Yeah.
But it just very like forgiving, but like better. I don't know, better action at the same time.
What do you think, Justin?
I don't know. I thought it was really cool because the changes that they made, I don't think it was maybe visually what you kind of thought. You're like, oh, where's the new sled? Like, but what's amazing is what they did change actually changed it significantly. Because if you think about when Skidoo first started changing their platform, I've heard people for years like say, oh, you'll just tip them over immediately. You go out and just tip them over and with the new sled. So to be able to do that again with a new sled and shed 14 pounds is pretty impressive. So it, it seemed like it took very little input to make the sled go where you wanted it to. And then probably one of my biggest complaints with Skidoo is just the fact that it'd bounce you out of a rut or a hole, because I'm not always first on the mountain. I'm usually second or third or last. But so I got a lot of bumps to hit. But no, it's nice to feel more stable on the snow and not feel like you're getting pushed around, and maybe a little more confident riding. So it was awesome.
Hey, if my family vacation pictures pop up on here again, give me a heads up.
I thought maybe you're trying to, show what you did all summer with the last podcast.
No. I turn my head when we're shooting with Dave McClure, and I'm like, that's my daughter. She doing all there. You just can't trust this crap. But no, that Summit X just feels so dang good, and it's the difference between a torsion spring Skidoo rear suspension and a coilover Summit X suspension is you go from, hey everybody, thanks for watching the Snow West Show. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and check out all of our past episodes and get alerts on new shows. Real quick though, I just wanted to thank the companies that support the Snow West Show. Fly Racing is the #1 gear brand in Supercross and Motocross, and they bring that same product innovation to snowmobiling. Whether it's monosuits, helmets, gloves, boots, or goggles, Fly Racing has you covered for your snowmobiling gear head to toe. Check them out at flyracing.com or at flyracingsnow on socials. Thanks to Deviant Ink for supporting the show. Head on over to deviantink.com and check out their custom wrap builder with new interactive design tools that make designing and customizing wraps easy. Their new colorizer tool randomizes color combinations until you land on the look you love. Then try the design mixer tool to see all the Deviant Ink designs in the colors you've selected. Check it out at deviantink.com. Thanks to Tempest Optics. These goggles feature an automatic lens heating system that sets the bar for fog prevention. We wear them. We love them. They have a huge assortment of lens options that are easy to swap. We get 3 to 5 rides on a single charge out of these, and they will stay charged for a very long time. No on and off switch, no external battery block, no power cords. Just charge them and ride. Check them out at tempestoptics.com and on social media. And welcome to the show, EasyLink. We've seen EasyLink products on trucks, snowmobiles, and UTVs for a while now. EasyLink connects your truck, your UTV, or your snowmobile with one device, making diagnostics, recalibrations, flash support, and factory functions easier than ever. One device, one platform, all your machines connected with EasyLink. See more at easylink.com. And thanks to Caliber Products. Caliber Products has been the leader in trailer glides and snowmobile shop wheels for years, but did you know they also do flooring for trailers and shops, ramps, and a bunch of other accessories? One of the coolest things they offer is the Traction Ladder HD. This allows your track to engage with the ramp sooner for safer, more controlled loading on any sled deck ramp or bed loading ramp. Check out all the products Caliber offers at caliberproductsinc.com. Hey, thanks again for listening, and now back to the show. As you go from, and I might be full of crap here because I'm not an engineer, but you go from falling rate to a rising rate like a progressive spring. So on a coil or on a torsion spring rear suspension like the Summit Expert is or the Summit X was, you'll hit a bump like those moguls that we go through like when we go up right behind the cabin. And you go up through those moguls and you'll get bump absorption, but then it doesn't like continue to dampen the impact. It just collapses into the tunnel. Like you get that bump absorption and then you go full collapse. And then you just you get a quick rebound. and step up for the next one. It's kind of a falling rate that lets the back end settle down more, which makes it better for getting up on top of snow. But a coilover makes it feel, I don't know, more like a dirt bike a little bit.
Yeah, when we were discussing what we're going to talk about here, that's the first thing that comes to my mind. Like, you know, as well as I do, comes to motocross, what's the first thing you do to your dirt bike? If you want to go fast, you do suspension on it. And this suspension on this is, you know, like I would think that you would do to a snowmobile to compare it to a dirt bike. So, like, they're easy to relate, but it just works better.
Yeah, so now you've got that coilover suspension on the Summit X. So you go into these big moguls and it does what you expect it to do, like you're talking with a dirt bike.
Yeah.
And you can face into this thing and you can anticipate that coilover rebound because it's not a falling rate. Like it takes the bump and then it pushes back up and levels the sled out and gets you ready for the next one, rather than kind of not really sacking out, but just not being really aggressive through moguls. In my thought, what do you think, Brock?
I think you guys hogged that machine for pretty much most of
All right,
snowshoe.
what do you think, Bruce?
You know, Bruce and I, Justin, we didn't get near as much time. No, I agree with exactly what you guys are saying. And what I think is cool is the comparisons that we're having with the 9R. The last couple of years, you know, our NA sled that we would all go to was the 9R, and this sled's right there with it. When you look at the dyno results that we have, there's only 1 horsepower difference with the dyno results.
Yeah.
So what they've done, you know, with that suspension, with the lighter track, I mean, it's right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and you're talking about dyno numbers. So when we went to the St. Cloud engineering plant for Arctic Cat, the year before the 858 came out, we did a tour through their engine plant and we talked to their engineers, and all of these engine facilities, Skidoo, Polaris, Arctic Cat, Yamaha, they all have their own dyno rooms, and they have like several of them. Like we just got back from Austria at the Rotax factory, touring through there, and they took us through their engineering development area, and there's multiple dyno rooms with engines set up in there. And one of them had a dyno engine. It was just an 850 Turbo R, and it had been running for like 300 hours nonstop at different RPM level. And we just sat there and watched it. And this thing would just sit there, run at like 8,100 RPM, full pin for 10 minutes. And then when they would back it back down, and they can control the engine temperature, but they try to mimic outside results, you know? So then we go into another room.
Yeah.
And at all these other places there, and you always see competitor machines in there. So they'll go buy a sled, their competitor machines, and they'll stick it on their own dyno machines, and they'll sit there and run them, and they'll validate numbers. And so they try to prove, okay, our engine does what we claim that it does. So like in this case, the 850 E-Tech that's in this Summit X is doing 165 horse on their dyno. And then we go to somebody else's dyno, somebody else's engine plant, and talk to their guys, and in their dyno room, they'll confirm, like, yeah, the 850 E-Tech on our dyno does 165 horse. So we got the same numbers that we're talking about, except for the 9R. So from 2 different engine dyno facilities plus Polaris, yeah, the 9R does 166 horsepower. So to get that validated, and then you realize, man, that, you know, we talk about the 9R as being like the lightweight responsive weapon, and to my, you know, to its credit, it still has a lighter drivetrain. It still has a lighter crank. Like, it's still snappier and more responsive. But horsepower-wise, it's right there with the 850 E-Tech.
And it kind of goes back to, you know, what you've been talking about for years is a lighter sled. You just dropped, you know, 14 pounds off of that sled, and we can feel it as we ride it.
And it made all the difference in the world, right?
Yeah.
Like, it took that Summit X from being like a good mountain sled to making it be like, okay, now this thing's like top of the list for us.
Yeah.
For me anyway.
No.
What do you think, Bruce?
I agree with all of it that you guys have said. It was one of the sleds I kept wanting to get back on. I just think that coilover suspension, that was a very good upgrade on that sled, because it was that sled that you kind of just didn't push aside, but he's like, oh, we know what that sled does with that T-motion. I've never really cared for the T-motion, even though it's still somewhat a T-motion, but that coilover made it just more forgiving and more playful and easier to handle. I feel like it's a little more predictable. You know, some of them Skidoos will they kind of got their own attitude and will take you places you don't think you're going. But I feel like with that coilover, it's like you can control it better, and it just seems better.
So go into depth on that, and we'll see in some. Yeah, right there you can see that rear arm. So it still has that ball joint pivot.
Mm-hmm.
So that on the Summit X, even with the coilover, it still flexes,
Right.
and it's still. But you're talking about it's. You don't feel it as unpredictable.
Right. I feel like it's, I guess, made that T-motion better. It don't feel like it's, I don't know, I feel like, and we've talked about this before, you get to a certain spot, and if you get it too far, it'll want to dump you. But I feel like now it's a gradual, I don't know what word I'm trying to get, but a gradual turn versus all of a sudden you're turning and going the opposite way.
So let me ask you this: when you get to that point where you're saying you feel like you get to a certain point and then it dumps you, is that where you're breaking the edge of the track? Like the whole
Possibly.
rear suspension is now it's no longer flexing; it's now rotating in the snow.
That's kind of what it feels like on the old T-motion. I feel like.
I don't know yet. I'm trying to figure out what you're feeling.
Yeah. So yeah, but I feel like the coilover has made that better, so it's not so aggressive. It's more of a rollover instead of a dump, I guess.
See,
if that makes sense.
Did we mention that to those guys?
A dump.
Dump. Did we mention that to those guys, Pascal and?
It seems like
I
we
think
talked
so
about it a
because we
couple
kind of
times.
got in a conversation about T-motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But didn't they say it had something to do with when you have two torsion springs, they're spread out, they're not like center line of the rear suspension, so they're over here. So when you flex the T-motion rear suspension, you're compressing one torsion spring.
Yeah.
Right.
And so you're
Makes
getting
sense.
a little more spring reaction, pushing it back to center.
Yeah.
Where on a coilover, you only have a coilover
Center
and a
spring.
shock, so it doesn't have that lateral
Yeah.
feedback.
Yeah.
Which I was going to mention earlier. I feel like the riding position was significantly different on that 32 inch, which is kind of funny. It's not really that different. It's not that much more narrow, but like if you tried to bring it over like you would a normal, like any other sled or even the older Skidoo or a 36 inch front end or 34, either any of those, like it just didn't. It's almost like the sled could stand out just a little straighter. It was weird. I didn't feel like I had to be as far forward.
So you're
There's,
talking about the
like,
Expert?
actual riding position, yeah.
So going to the Expert with the even narrower front end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. You got something on, you got a thought there.
No, I got nothing on that. I got to remember riding that 32. It's been a while since we've ridden these sleds.
I honestly, if we're going to talk Expert a little bit here, it took me a little while to figure that 32 out. Like I fought that thing for a bit, just because, and maybe it's because I'm taller, so a little bit of upper body movement goes a lot further on that thing. So it took me a while to figure out, but I figured it out. But the Summit X with the 34 inch front end just was kind of a sweet spot.
Yeah. Yeah, it definitely feels, I don't know.
I feel like you're more in control,
Yeah. Everything they
but it's easier.
did to the X, like it all worked together. Like nothing in the chassis feels like it's fighting itself anymore.
Yeah.
Like got rid of those torsion springs. Like you said, it's, two different torsion springs doing different things on each side, depending on, where it's compressing to one single coilover shock. That seems like it just works better together. Then, comparing it to the Expert almost felt like it was harder to ride, like certain situations.
More rider effort.
Yeah, a narrower front end, but it felt like you had to put more effort into doing what you're doing. So then the first thing I asked those guys, when you putting that coil over on the Expert?
Well, and that's what I didn't mean to jump over to into the Expert. I guess when we were looking at that coil over, it kind of had a ride, and then the 32 had a whole kind of different ride. And I remember, like, I wouldn't say either one was bad, but I think in our minds we were like, okay, I love the coil over, and the 32, I could see how that could work after some time on it because it was different to ride. But it makes you wonder if, I think everybody was kind of thinking, what if you paired the two together? But
I think Fred and Pascal are going to want to shoot us after this because now we're saying we really like this Summit X, this T-motion that they've done, where we've been harping on we don't want the T-motion, and now we're like, we kind of like the feel of this.
Well, the Expert don't have the T-motion. Right?
That's what I'm saying.
Right. It's the T-motion XT.
right.
Which is
The Expert?
The Expert.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have that flex.
Right. So it's kind of, that's why I was saying you pair this different rear end with the 32-inch front, and then you have the Summit X with the coilover, and so they're just totally different rides. But I just think in our heads, I mean, obviously we're comparing, contrasting, and trying to think of how to make things different or better. So I think your brain automatically goes to, what if we swapped this into there? And I think we started talking about that.
Yeah. Don't you think the experts are going to be more for your aggressive riders, like your pros and your ambassadors and stuff that want to just go into the steep and deep and, you know what I mean, through the thick trees? I feel like that's your more aggressive chassis.
I asked, might have been Pascal, one of those guys, about that, and that's what they mentioned. That's your more aggressive rider. You're a guy that just spends all his time on one edge, and I think the Expert feels more like the 9R chassis. Like, I think they're more comparable with each other than the X versus like the Polaris 9R. So I'd compare those two together more. I think the X is just definitely easier to ride, but like certain situations, like I know when we were at Snowshoot, we dropped through that pretty thick trees, but it was super steep, and everybody, like, it seems like we're losing people all the way down through that thing. But like, and I was on the Expert, and it's easier to ride in more technical terrain, like to keep it on its edge than the X was. The X is easier to roll into the hill and perform a maneuver, whatever you want to do. But as far as staying on an edge on a super steep slope, that Expert definitely shines.
Yeah, and I think anybody watching this everybody's going to be asking the same question. Well, how does this compare to the X to the Expert, right? So it's totally fine to talk about the Expert and all that, because that's everybody's thought is like, well, I ordered an X, but I came off an Expert, or I ordered an Expert and I just came off an X. Like, which one should I have gotten? And where Skidoo made big changes to both of them, it was not an easy choice to be a customer this year.
Yeah, agreed.
You know, if they spread these out and they only improve the X, then you kind of get everybody to go to the X, and then you do all the stuff to the Expert the next year, and then everybody goes back to the Expert. But no, they're trying to divide these things and make them much more different, like handling characteristic wise and everything than before. You know, I think in 2020, the Expert was way different than the rest of the Summit lineup. Yeah. And then since then, they've all gotten really close and really similar. And then 26, the X is totally different than the Expert.
Yeah.
Like even if you blindfolded Justin and let him walk through the shop, like he'd figure it out, like which is which pretty quick.
Maybe.
Even if you took the handguards off.
No, I agree. I think it's cool that they're kind of making them two different sleds, honestly, but they're upgrading both of them.
And I don't think the Expert, I mean, it's really hard because, I mean, we did get to ride them kind of back to back, but I don't know that anybody got enough time on that narrower front end to really say that they loved it or were super comfortable with it.
You didn't ride it?
A little bit, but everybody wanted to ride it, so it was hard to get. But I'm just saying, I feel like it'd take some time. You know, I don't feel like I think the Summit X was significantly different. I think we noticed it mostly maybe going in on the trail, just all around riding. It had a little bit different feel, but definitely a lot different feel on that 32. And I think it would take some time to like, even if you ordered one this year, you'll love it, but it might take a minute. Where
we were riding up and down the park the first time we got on them, and we dropped into that north facing, that big, long, steep ravine.
Is that where we all got stuck?
Yeah, multiple times.
I wasn't on either one of these sleds.
I was on. You started on the free ride.
Yeah, I was on the free ride.
Oh, yeah.
What a fun sled.
Yeah. all the times that you got stuck. Fun sled. I was on the X for a while going into that, and then I got on the Expert, and then I took off. Without you guys,
for like 2 hours.
Like I got stuck like 3 times with you guys, and then I'm like, we're in the wrong spot.
So you left us in the wrong spot, and then
got on an Expert and went to find the right spot. And so I had just a great 20 minutes just on the Expert.
Ryan, you there? Nothing. Ryan, I'm stuck. Nothing.
Well, I knew you had company.
Okay.
You had
All
people. Right. Yeah, you weren't alone. But I had 20, 25 minutes of just the Expert in its prime condition. So you're on a side hill, you're never on flat ground, and you're going through trees. And I had a little bit of energy, and it worked great. I mean, I was pretty dang tired at that point, but even for that 20 minutes that I had it, but then I got stuck twice on my own with it. and had to dig out. And that was that kind of snow that had powder like 18 inches and then like
a
that
crust.
firm layer that just
Yeah.
grabbed you. So if you start cutting through
Break
that,
through
like it
it.
just holds you.
Yeah.
And then kind of sugar underneath that. But no, I could see like, okay, this is why the Expert is what it is. Like the 32-inch front end, like you don't move your upper body at all. Like you just kind of, you look and move your head a little bit, and that's all it takes to get that sled to kind of cut into your line. Where on the X, you're still throwing your weight around a little bit more, like fighting that thing.
Yeah.
Not fighting that thing, but putting more input into it.
Yeah.
So for anybody that bought an Expert, give it a couple rides, like when you get out there on it. Like, would you say, Brock?
Oh yeah, just give it a little bit of time, and once you figure it out, it's in that steep, nasty section. I was on one, and I might not have fit through on a 34.
Yeah.
couple of those little lines.
That's a good point too, because it is. We've posted some pictures before of the two front ends, the 34 and the 32.
And then I did get stuck and never heard from you assholes for like 45 minutes all by myself.
The radio goes super quiet.
Yeah.
They're not super long range.
Right.
Yeah, you must have been like 10 miles
Yeah,
away.
you gotta get stuck a little closer.
It wasn't far.
You want Justin's help, you got to get stuck in front of him.
Justin's riding above you.
Oh, man. Well, the X, though, just going back to what Rhett said, like it is just a playful sled. Like it felt, it just brought all the joy that I feel when I get on a 9R. Just like, oh man, this thing is like sporty. It's responsive. It's quick. It's bouncy. It pops over moguls.
Yeah.
I can put 2 or 3 moguls together on a trail going in. Like I can enjoy the rough stuff and then get up in the mountains, and it just feels so light and responsive. Like that's what I feel now on the 26 Summit X.
Yeah. I'm excited to ride them this year. Just get some more seat time. See how they feel.
Yeah.
I don't know though. They're pretty heavy, according to Chris Brandt and Nels on their post the other day. I thought that was pretty cool.
I like it. I like the bashing. It makes it fun.
Makes it fun.
Yeah.
I think we mentioned this in Dave's podcast, but it is awesome. You've got 3 manufacturers, and they're all kind of after the same thing. And the fact that guy sent a picture to the Skidoo guys, you know it's important to him. He wants to check it out and see what his sled's weighing in at. And so I don't think it's bad. It'll drive innovation and changes and keep being better for us as consumers. So.
Yeah. Let's go around the table. What do you guys, what would you like to see from here forward on the Summit X?
I know we've talked about steering a lot, and it'll be interesting. It's one of the things that I haven't always loved how my body position and the way that you maneuver on the sled, and we've kind of always joked about maybe changing up how they do that, which I guess they kind of did a little bit. But it'll be interesting after we have some time on them to see if maybe some of these other changes makes it to where you don't care so much about that.
So what is it you feel? Like, what do you feel on a Skidoo? And are you comparing it to like a Polaris?
Yeah, probably mostly comparing to a Polaris. I think that, and I've said this a million times. I've spent a lot of time on a Polaris in the last few years, so I'm very comfortable with the positioning, and I just don't ever I feel like I'm very neutral, very comfortable. I don't feel like I have to get super far forward or super far back. I don't feel like the handlebars come into my body awkward or anything like that. So I guess I like the setup, and I think we've kind of joked about whether or not that would be an advantage to change the way that the steering is on the Skidoo. So maybe that'd be the only thing. And maybe it's not important. Maybe some of these other changes, make it to where because I did notice, especially on the Expert, and even a little bit on the X, I don't think my body position didn't feel like it had to be quite as aggressive as it had to be in the past on some of the Skidoos, and just a little bit more comfortable. So I don't know.
Rhett, what do you think about that? You got Justin coming from a little more of a Polaris background, and you probably have a little more. I mean, you have background on everything, cats and Skidoos and Polarises in your background, but you've got a little more Skidoo experience. What do you think about that riding position and steering?
I think it's just what you get used to riding and what you're comfortable with. The more time you spend on each sled, when you jump off one and jump back on the other one, it's going to feel weird to you, no matter what. So the more time you spend on it is, years back, I bought a Skidoo because I had ridden one, and I'm like, man, I struggle on that thing. It feels weird to me. And you bring up the conversation about a laid back steering post versus a more vertical one, like on a Polaris. And it's more about just I think the more time you spend on it, you just get more comfortable with it. So I feel like as a test rider, I can jump on any one of them and be comfortable like in a short time, no matter if it's a new sled or, current model year or whatever. You just got to spend more time on them and know how they react. I don't think one is better or worse than the other one. It's just they're different, and you just learn to ride them, differently.
Brock, what do you think about lay down versus vertical on steering?
I'm getting more used to the Skidoo steering. Like, I think it's like Rhett said. Once you do it, more, then it's something you get used to. Because I know I came from cat background, Polaris, felt way more comfortable on those two sleds. And now the last couple of years, it's that lay down steering. I don't mind it at all.
What do you like about it?
It's easy. I think it's easier to initiate a turn now. I'm used to it. You don't have to. It's effortless to initiate a turn anymore.
What do you think, Bruce?
Kind of the same. I feel more comfortable definitely on, the Cat, of course, and the Polaris because they're kind of the same. It does take a little longer for me to get back into the groove on a Skidoo to kind of figure it out. It is just a hair different. And then if I go from Skidoo back to Polaris or Cat, I pick it up a little easier. So I feel like those two are easier to initiate right out of the get-go. Skidoo is a little harder. But it would be kind of fun, like Justin said, to throw the different steering on a Skidoo and just see. I mean, you got Cat coming with the lay down, on the HCX. So it's kind of cool that they've kind of doing both just to see. So it'll be fun even to ride one of them, just something different. But I don't know if they ever will, change the steering on that. But
I don't think they will because it'd be like why maybe Ford should put a Cummins in there just to satisfy all the Dodge owners that think that Ford should have a Cummins in it.
And I think that's Skidoo's. That's what's kind of keeps them different from the other two brands. They're just that different. But like Rhett says, once you get used to them, they are pretty easy to initiate. And I feel like you don't. The steering is different. I feel like you got to counter steer a little bit more, but to get going. But yeah,
I feel like with that lay down steering, like when you're say we're on a two top or sawtail and we're in trees, but we're not on a steep side hill, so you're just kind of racing each other through the trees and up through canyons and up over ridges and everything. I feel like the Skidoo feels more like a race sled. Like I can get down into an aggressive riding position on that thing, and I can make it do quick turns.
Yeah.
Without having to really throttle off or anything. And then when we get into that constant off camber stuff, you've got to adjust your riding position, get a little farther forward on it, and be a little more aggressive. The lay down steering in that situation can help you in some situations, and it can kind of throw your body weight off in some situations. But the vertical steering on the Polaris, same thing. Like there's times on that where, like if you're going downhill off camber, like that vertical steering tends to put your upper body downhill off camber. So you've almost got to go downhill off camber with your edge cut in to stay, in a neutral position on that sled. But on a steep side hill, the vertical steering definitely helps because it keeps the steering axis like just forward, like right in front of your hips rather than up and down a little bit.
Yeah. So
it makes, the vertical helps there. So it kind of all just comes down to what terrain you're in and where you're at. But the biggest thing is it's the same thing we say year after year. If you own a Polaris and you ride a Polaris and you spend 5 minutes in a field or on the hill on your buddy's Skidoo, you're going to hate it because of the steering.
Yeah.
And if you own a Skidoo and you go spend 5 minutes on your buddy's Cat or Polaris, you're going to hate it because of the steering.
Yeah.
But if you give yourself a couple hours and start to figure out what that machine does, then you'll allow yourself to figure out, okay, is this actually better now that I've figured out how to control it with the steering system?
Yep.
And adapt to it,
Yeah.
I think some of it is like set up for each rider. Like you need to have the levers and the throttle where it needs to be. Like I know with the Skidoo, it's critical to have where the actual steering post comes up through the chassis and where your handlebars mount. They need to be in line because if you mount the handlebars forward of where the post is, it throws off. Like, it's weird. That's so, like, setup's key. And Carl Kuster does videos about stuff like that, about setup and stance and things like that that make a world of difference on a Skidoo. Like, if you spend enough time on them, like it's a cool opportunity to be able to ride them all back to back to back, you know, and compare them. And like the steering thing, like I'd say 5 years ago, it might have bothered me, but I don't even think about it when I jump off one to the other now. I know they handle different, and you ride them a little bit different.
So just standing on a sled, like when I stand on an Expert or an X, it just feels natural. Like it feels like I'm standing up on a dirt bike, you know. The handlebars are just about the right width. We need to measure all the handlebar widths and see where they all plug in, because it seems like the pro tapers on the Polaris are wider, probably an inch wider, and it gives you a little bit different feel. And then because of the shape of the pro taper, I can't get the brake caliper or reservoir in far enough to where I can use the brake lever with one finger like I like, because of the bend of the handlebar. But the Skidoo, you know, just the way that works, they've got the new adjustable reservoir, or the new adjustable lever too, which is really nice. And now you can pick really how far out that thing sits and everything. But as far as bar setup, what do we think on ergonomics and just fit and finish and everything on these?
I think it's super good. Like, I think just the way everything feels, like you said, just standing on them, I think they feel good. Everything's comfortable. They don't feel like they're weird by any means. Doesn't feel like the bars are ever too far or too wide or too narrow. I think it's a comfortable feel, and everything seems like it works good. But
yeah, I feel like you're kind of part of the sled on a Skidoo. You're kind of the riding position. Everything I feel is pretty good overall. So balanced, and you know what I mean.
Do you feel part of the sled on a Cat?
Yeah, all the time. Whether you're on top or under it.
Is it hard to go this long without mentioning Arctic Cat?
No, it's fine. That day's coming.
See, like I jump on a Polaris chassis, and the handlebars irritate me.
Me
like,
too. Has
just
for 20
the
years.
width of them, and they haven't changed. So
Yeah.
it's been the same bar, so they feel weird to me. It's no different. Like, I spend a lot of time on dirt bikes, and if my levers aren't where I want them or need them to be, like that's all you think about while you're riding it. So I get on Polaris sometimes, and I'm like, man, I hate these handlebars. And it's like every 10 minutes, I hate these handlebars.
It is funny you say that, because you jump on your buddy's sled or somebody else's sled, and you're like, I gotta rotate this to where I need. Like, you're always rotating your throttle or your brake to where you're comfortable with it. So, but yeah, I think Skidoo's got a pretty good setup.
What about the actual bar itself? Like Skidoo has the integrated bar bend at the end, and Polaris has the plastic hooks that rotate. What do we think about those?
I like the bend.
I like the bend myself.
Yeah.
I don't care for those hooks. And it seems like they're always in the wrong place. Like, I twist them forward so they're away from me, because I don't want them, like, stab me in the leg or something. I'd almost like rather break them off.
Stab you in the nutsack.
Happened to you a couple times.
How are you riding a sled?
I've never had any issues, so it doesn't bother me at all.
I like that down taper on
He
the end
likes
of it.
that Polaris.
I think it's comfortable, because it doesn't matter where you're standing. It just
Well, because the grip section, the flat part isn't too wide to where you can't ever use that bend in the bar. Like it's just right to where it's always right there. So when you do transition, like real quick from the sled being level to off camber, or you need to get your weight out to the side of it, you're immediately touching the bend of that bar and having leverage from that. Sometimes I feel like the Polaris, the hook is like an inch away from my hand.
Yeah.
You know, in one regard, I'm complaining about not being able to move my controls in far enough, but at the same time,
can't feel
I
your
feel
hook.
like I've got space to the hook sometimes, and I think it's just because it's a right angle
Yeah,
edge.
it's a lot more abrupt, and makes sense.
Yeah. Gauges though, let's talk about that real quick, because the gauges are all kind of catching up with each other now. Skidoo now has group ride. Did you guys play around with that at all?
Yeah, they were pretty specific to get it set up. I think they wanted to make sure that they showed that to us. So, which, I mean, it's part of you that I know we've talked about gauges before. We're like, we don't really look at them, we don't care. But depending on the situation, it's actually kind of nice to be able to know. I mean, maybe we could find Brock.
What were you on?
You know. But
You must have been on like a 23 Yamaha or something.
No, I was on an Expert, but no one was looking for me.
But yeah, if you had kids or family or even just, your buddies, I mean, it's kind of nice to see where people are at. We do get into some pretty unique terrain sometimes, and you hate to not find somebody, so it's kind of cool. Neat feature.
Yeah, it'll be cool when these all talk to each other. When you can be on a Skidoo and you can see a Polaris,
Yeah.
or an Arctic Cat.
Yeah.
And hopefully that day is coming. When it came out this spring and Skidoo released that, now we have group ride and everything. The overwhelming response was, when are they all going to talk to each other? Not great, that's awesome. It was like, when are these all going to talk to each other? Because they all have like their own independent technology, and they don't want to. This is not normal for them to go share it all and make it all talk and work with each other. But
they never indicated like it was something in the near future either. When we were talking to them, it's
I
kind
don't
of
know. I felt like when we were at the Skidoo dinner at Snowshoot, we had mentioned that, and the people that I was sitting next to, they actually work in some of that area, and they kind of, they acted like they wanted to. I don't know how hard it is to do, because they're working with 3 very different, unique, kind of more proprietary systems. So I don't think it's really easy to just tell them to talk to each other. But maybe, I don't know, she didn't act like it wasn't something that they weren't open to, though. So I mean, it's not really. It'd be nice if everybody was on a Skidoo, or I'm sure every manufacturer would love it if everybody rode the same sled. But that's not realistic. You're always going to have Bruce on an Arctic Cat. So, I mean, there's always.
Good thing there's only one of me, right?
Were you still stuck when we were at dinner? I didn't see you at dinner.
No, I headed home.
Oh, you got yourself dug out.
I went home. I didn't want to have dinner with you guys.
I think being able to see where each other is on those screens is an awesome feature. It's also a safety thing. Like, if you lose somebody and it's getting dark and it's getting cold, being able to find them, or at least, a lot closer to where they are, is a huge deal. That's, I think, would benefit, like, if they all shared, communication with each other, just to find somebody, so you don't have
For sure.
a huge problem.
Yeah. So. I'm just sitting there thinking of all the times that we've been out, like at the old deep powder challenges that we did, and we would have groups of like 24 people, and you'd always have it'd be time to go home, like 4 or 5 o'clock. It'd be time to go back to the cabin, and everybody's staying at the cabin, so you're up there for a week. And there's always the group that's like, "Oh, we're taking a shortcut." It's like, you're almost out of gas. So and so I'm like, "Okay, let's go." And we take a shortcut, and then half the group just gets trailed off in the trees, and you wind up having to go back to the cabin, get gas. You're looking at them out the front window, like through binoculars. You can see where the bonfire is on the face of Two Top. You're like, okay, now I know where they're at. And go back up there and get them. But we've come along. That's like late 90s. So, having gauges where you can literally see everybody, it is a safety issue. It would help out on a lot of that stuff.
Maybe they can put the number of people in your group. You got to check in and check out, because you get 24 people. It's hard to remember how many are there.
Yeah. So you said 24. That's 22 too many. Like, the group.
They do get big sometimes.
Yeah,
so.
those were some headaches for sure. Anything else we should cover on this on the Summit X?
Skis
and track.
Yeah, skis are the.
I thought the X had the DS3 and the 4 and the DS4 and the Freerider on the
X.
Stumped us.
Somebody know this offhand?
The X
Pilot
has the
DS3 ski on the X.
It's been a minute.
Okay.
So we've got the DS3 ski on the X and DS4 on the Expert and Freeride.
Yep.
And it's if you talk to like Mason Rutledge, he goes all the way back to like the Pilot DS2.
Twos.
Yeah.
And runs those on all of his sleds because they're less aggressive. And I haven't tried that, but you do wonder. Sometimes the Skidoo has a twitchy front end and kind of a grabby feel. It's got a really deep kill. Especially that DS4. It's got a deep kill.
Yep.
And I wonder, how much of that is the ski, how much of that is just me, how much of that is the lay down steering. But then again, you get on a Polaris or a Cat, and depending on the snow, you'll feel the same thing.
Yep.
What do you think about skis? You brought it up.
I don't know. I just knew there was something different. So I don't know. It was hard to kind of determine between the 3s and the 4s, honestly. Like, I couldn't even tell you what's better and what's worse, but I think the 4s are your more aggressive ones, right? Mm-hmm. Which makes sense being on the Expert, because that is your more aggressive sled. So, but I don't know. Maybe we can compare them more this winter.
I think you feel it more in like spring snow or
Yeah.
down the trail.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
And the expert is, maybe a lot of people think, well, the expert is the best sled in the lineup, so it should be like the easiest and most fun to ride. Like no, it's like the most capable, but it's going to take some strength and some endurance to make it go where you want it to go.
Mm-hmm.
But it's it's narrower and it's got aggressive skis, it's got aggressive track, so it'll hold edges like nobody's business, and it'll go places. But it takes an expert level rider to make that sled do what it's made to do. And the X is probably a little more forgivable overall, a little more forgiving. Track wise, the X has a new track. It's a lighter track. I think they took
It's thinner, right?
they took 2 pounds of weight out of the track this year. It's still a 3-inch track, and the track weighs 42.9 pounds. But I don't know. I think these 16 wide Skidoo tracks just hook up and go.
Mm-hmm.
They do pretty good. So when you compare them, what if you were to compare it to a Polaris 325 track, Brock? What do you think?
Like we were talking, it was as playful as the 9R in my opinion. Whether it be the track, whether it be the suspension, I'm not sure. But I heard. I mean, Rhett mentioned it how well it got up on the snow. So I think it's a great track. We're splitting hairs, I think, at this point.
Yeah. Rhett, what do you think about just track and the back end of the machine? You've talked about suspension a lot, but do you feel different? Go from a 16 wide Skidoo to a 15 wide Polaris or Cat?
I don't know. The 16 wide, there's more surface area on the snow, so obviously it's supposed to be better flotation. But different geometers of track and lug heights, it all changes how a sled reacts in the snow conditions. Some of the softer geometer paddles, will fold over easier in more set up snow, or a stiffer one works better in set up snow. It's, I don't know. Like I said, I think snowmobiles are getting more rider specific to what terrain you want to ride. So, I mean, you can go buy the sled that is exactly what you want for whatever terrain that you prefer to ride. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that's where you get the expert, You got to look in the mirror when you're a consumer and say, am I an expert rider? Should I buy this sled? Or am I not quite there? Maybe I'd have more fun on the Summit X. But no, I think the track's great. It's hard to notice track weight, 'cause it's rotating mass. It's not as easy to notice when they take weight off of a track versus an overall sled. They take weight off the whole sled. You notice that, but as far as the track, but I think track worked great for the conditions we rode it in. I don't know if it's better or worse than another one. I think it worked great. I like the short tunnel on those. It lets it get through the snow better. Nothing hangs up back there. So
Makes it really easy to turn around. I'm an older generation rider, so I'm not like Caleb Kosterke that can do switchbacks within 20 feet, back and forth. But I can get that thing to stand up and spin it around and then set it back down and go the other way. And you can do that on the long tunnel sleds with full length mud flaps. Like that's just that's a really cool setup. And to have the Skidoo tunnel be even shorter just makes that maneuver even easier to do. So that's good. That's a good setup. One thing that the Summit X has that a Polaris or a Cat doesn't have.
Thank you.
Is shot. I freaking love shot.
Oh, and the older I get, the more I like shot. Or I bring a young friend that'll start my sled for me. One or the other.
If I had $1 for every time I had to start your sled for you.
I know. You're not even that young.
some of the features that are on Skidoo, like the shot start, or things with the gauges, what Polaris has, there's also where you can see, some of those things you get used to, and it's almost like you take it for granted. You don't think about it till you get on a sled without it. So you can't find your friend. You're like, oh, I don't have the sled with the gauge to see where he's at.
Or you hit the reverse button to start it.
Or you get on a sled and you're in a bad predicament and you need to pull start it, but you can't get leverage to pull start it. When on the Skidoo, you just hit that button and we're off to the races.
Yeah. I take shot for granted for sure, but I'm not a big gauge guy because that gauge comes with weight penalty. on any brand that you're on, it's near 10 pounds versus the lighter gauge option that you can get on these sleds. So me personally, if I'm ordering a sled, I'm probably going to stick with the lightweight small gauge just because
You don't want
I obviously didn't go help Brock anyway.
You don't want to be found?
That's the battle. Like, do I want to find Brock or do I want to be found? Like, can I have the small gauge and still be found?
It's funny. It's
carry
funny. I
some
mean,
flares.
you point out the gauge being a 10-pound weight. I mean, that maybe, technology is always improving, and maybe that's somewhere where they can shave more weight, maybe get thinner, lighter weight. I don't know.
Or just don't eat that cheeseburger in the morning.
There you go. Yeah, we always joke about that.
I think they could minimize the size of that gauge, probably lose some weight. Like, I don't think it needs to be like
A tablet.
this big. But
Well, and the battery too. The battery, all those gauges have to add a battery to the
Right.
snowmobile, and that's where a lot of the weight comes in at. That's probably 7 pounds of your weight.
if you're getting an age and you need bifocals to see your gauge, maybe that big gauge is good for you. I've always had good eyes, so like it doesn't need to be that big.
Are you guys all opting for the bigger gauges?
If you're
Whatever you
riding
get.
in the snow conditions we like to ride anyway, you can never see it as it is because it's
Yeah,
always
no
covered in
kidding.
snow.
Yeah, the only time I'd use it is if Brock was lost and we need to find him or something. But other than that, I'm never looking down. So maybe at an RPM or something.
Yeah, I don't know that I've always been a big gauge guy. I don't really care, but I do have to admit I don't think the weight penalty is. I know we talk about weight all the time. You got to get lighter, but I don't think it's that big of a deal to make sure you can find people and be safe. So, and maybe that's more from thinking like taking your kids up and riding with them. Like I don't really care if there's another 10 pounds.
Yeah,
No.
and that's a good point. Yeah.
And so if you had to maybe find, you're good all around, I don't know that I'd cry over having a larger gauge if that's what it meant. But if you're strictly trying to build the lightest weight sled possible, then yeah, maybe you go a different direction. So just depends on your purpose, I guess. So
Yeah, interesting thought.
It's like the guys that rip their headlights out because it's weight. I'd rather have a
Right,
headlight at
yeah.
night when I'm
When you're in
when
the
it
dark.
hits dark and I'm riding back.
Well, and all those guys that rip their headlights out are carrying headlights
In their bag.
in their bag.
Yeah.
Right,
And it's
lights.
obviously lighter, but they're still carrying weight that half the time they don't use.
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah, everybody has a different riding style. That's what's kind of fun about doing this. And even between the five of us, I mean, we all actually have a little bit different riding style. And so, I mean, you really do. It's cool that the manufacturers, I think Skidoo this year, like you said, they did come out and say, hey, we want to make sure that, in fact, they talked a little bit about making sure that in the dealerships, they know how to explain an expert versus a Summit X.
True.
That we are kind of trying to push these apart. Because I don't think there's been a lot of difference in the past. I mean, you kind of go grab a sled, and it's like, we kind of joke about, like, would you have the 9R? Would you have the Boost? Would you have, and I mean, if you're not riding them real aggressively, probably doesn't really matter a whole lot. You can get on any of them, ride them down the trail, get off a little bit, playing boondock, so, but I do think that, some people have a little bit more desire to have a specific sled and features, but yeah.
And I'm not saying that every mountain sled has to be this light. I'm just saying that every brand should offer a mountain sled that is super light. So if you want to spend your money, I mean, we're $25,000 for new sleds. If you want to spend $25,000 and you want the model that is just super light, there should be an option for you from each of these guys.
For sure.
And then, there's also other options that don't have all that lightweight stuff.
Yeah.
But that's just where I think I would like to see all three brands have a sled that's full of fuel, ready to ride under 500 pounds.
Okay.
So we're 10 pounds away
Close.
from that.
Yeah, we're close.
It'd be cool to get down to that number. Or even lighter. If you're talking Brant stuff, he's way past that.
Yeah.
He's like at 159, isn't he, or something? Just kidding, Chris.
Lighter than a dirt bike.
Yeah, and I was talking to one of the guys at Skidoo yesterday, and this stuff came up, and we were kind of joking around. But he's like, a carbon fiber tunnel is not going to be lighter than an aluminum tunnel. So where else do you start pulling weight out? Yeah, you can do carbon fiber rails, but those are going to save you some weight, but they don't flex enough. So they work. I mean, obviously they work on a mod sled, but they're not something that you would put on a stock sled and sell in a dealership to just anybody, because you're probably going to have broken rails with carbon fiber. So where else do you start shaving weight?
Mono ski.
Oh man, don't let me talk.
That's when you just say, I don't know. I'm not the damn engineer. You figure it out.
That's when
Just
you
make
go
it,
to the
just
gym.
make it lighter.
Go to the gym, start running on a treadmill.
Yeah.
That's probably what his
That's what the
response.
engineers are going to start telling us.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you watch Steve Martin ride.
They're going to
It's
give you a diet.
Man, it'd be nice to weigh 88 pounds. Be 5'4". Sorry, Steve. I don't know how tall you really are. Probably weigh a little more than 88 pounds. But he'll be up here next week, by the way.
Right on.
Plan on that one for Monday.
Yeah.
I'm sure Justin will be here, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, me, Justin, and Steve Martin. Anybody else want to come?
I think I can make that one, maybe.
Now that he's done farming, he can make them all now, too.
Oh, yeah. That's about how it goes. Shoot. Now, Steve Martin and I were in Austria together at the Rotax factory, so he's coming up. We're going to talk about that trip.
That'll be fun.
Because we saw some cool stuff. Like we saw plasma getting sprayed inside the cylinder. Did you know the Rotax, they don't use Nicosil? They line their cylinder walls with plasma,
Really?
and they just spray it in there. Like it's a machine that sprays it. I couldn't tell you what plasma actually is.
Isn't that
know
like
that it
pulled
was.
out of your body? No.
No, that's blood. I don't know.
No,
that's also
another
plasma.
Plasma.
No, this is like, those lighters that they're like crossed like that, and it's plasma lighter. I don't know what plasma is. It's like lightning. It's like this machine that's just spewing lightning inside the engine.
Maybe that's why they
Ooh,
wrote
that's
so
cool.
good.
Look at that.
I enjoyed following your stories on that. That was pretty cool.
It was a blast. It was a super fun trip. I almost didn't go.
I'm glad we all talked you into going.
Oh my gosh, that's a story in its
Nice
own
job,
right
Steve. Way to call, Steve.
Yeah, I was getting direct messages from Steve Cowling making sure you could go.
Well, he called Bruce.
I got a call.
He called Bruce.
I thought I was
like,
getting a free skidoo, and then he's like, "Oh, you need to send Ryan to Austria." I'm like, what? Screw you, Steve. No, just kidding.
Oh yeah, man. No, it was really cool. It was a good experience. So we're gonna get together and talk about that. But shoot, I was gonna have us talk about snowshoot 2 years ago, the Stance sock story. But
I've actually got to go.
I gotta go. I just looked at the clock too. It's 5 o'clock.
Text.
So I don't know. I've
Appointment
got
at 5:30.
I've got prizes for you guys
Let's
from
save
that.
it for another day.
Yeah, that'll be another
Let's
one.
do dinner at 6 one night, and then do the podcast.
Well, this is why I try and start at 3 o'clock.
I don't eat dinner at 3.
No, start the podcast at 3.
Pizza at 6.
Pizza at 6. It might take that long to talk about Brock's forest adventure.
All right,
Let's save it
We'll
for
save that for
another
another
day.
time.
All right.
All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in though and watching. Like I said, we're going to be doing a lot of other sled reviews coming up here. Got a lot of other good content. We've hit 103 episodes, and I've got 2 ready to go up, and then this one. So we're rolling right along. So if you're on the Snow West Instagram channel or the Snow West YouTube channel, hit the subscribe button. God, I get to this point of the show and I just can't even speak. I need to just have a recording and I just hit a button.
Yeah.
Subscribe to us on Snow West YouTube channel.
You need Siri.
Yeah, something like that.
Have Rhett say it. I was surprised he brought out the word durometer.
Pretty educated.
How do you spell that?
Red over here with his chai tea hat on.
He's looking in the mirror. I'm an expert. I can.
That's Chicago for the Bears.
Gee.
I thought you were a Starbucks fan. But anyway, hit that subscribe button. We'll just end it there.
Talking about football, and he brings up Starbucks.
Chai tea.
It's not a football team.
I mean, I'll give you credit. Like Chicago's looking good this year.
Go Bears.
There you go. All right. Thanks for listening.
Bears.
Tune in next episode. We got Rhett Clark, Bruce Curbs, Brock Jenna, Justin Stevens. Thanks for coming in the show, guys. We'll be back with more of these later on. See you later.
Thanks, Ryan.
Yeah,
I'll
what
let
do
you
guys?
clap on this one.
I just finally figured out what your hat means. You start talking about Chicago Bears. I'm like, well, damn, that must be what it is. Chicago.
What'd you think it was?
I don't know. I'm like,
G?
what the hell is CHI? I know they make garage doors, shitty ones.